Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the second installment of the SGE series where we are experimenting with the stock gearing on the bike. In this installment, I actually changed things up a bit. From the last episode, we have discovered that with stock gearing now, riding at the same speed of 55 miles per hour, it was only a difference of only 500 RPM. So instead of riding at 7,000 RPM, we were riding at 6,500 RPM. And to me, I just don't really believe that's going to make much of a difference over the long run. So with today, I've decided to ride the bike at not 6,500, but at 6,000 RPM. So 1,000 RPM lower than previous. And for the rest of the week, I'm going to continue to ride at 6,000 RPM and not at the 55 miles an hour GPS. So we'll see how the bike performs, how it holds up to riding at much lower RPMs. And first impressions so far, the bike, first off, I definitely don't need to twist the throttle as much while riding at 6,000 RPMs versus the 6,500. I also notice the bike in general, just the way that it sounds, the way that the engine is spinning. Obviously, it's just not working as hard. And as you can see on the screen, the tachometer is smack dab in the middle. So I'm hoping that this 6,000 RPM is going to be a lot more, let's say, easygoing on the engine. I hope it's not straining here. Pretty much what I want to determine is whether or not the high RPM riding, well, at the time, I didn't think that 7,000 RPMs was high RPMs, especially when the bike claims, or when CSC claims, that this bike can go 5,000 miles at 8,000 RPMs. To me, 7,000 RPMs shouldn't have been high, but from our repeated experience between two different engines, I mean, both engines were ridden at the exact same RPMs for extended periods of time on this very commute route. So if 7,000 RPMs is the culprit of why this bike has been having the valve recession issues that it's been having, then this experiment, riding at 6,000 RPMs, should give us definitive proof that there's some type of change. There should be some difference in longevity. So hopefully the bike can actually endure it. In all honesty, riding at 50 miles an hour, like, if it's true that 50 miles an hour GPS is this bike's maximum safe speed limit, I just gotta say, like, I kind of wish I knew this before I bought this bike. It's very unfortunate that I bought this bike not knowing that this was its actual real limitations. But I can't say that indefinitely right now, just because we still got to conduct the test. But if it's actually true, like, man, I should have just kept the TT250. In all honesty, I mean, the TT250 is literally capable of doing the exact same thing. So what's the point in spending all the extra money on the RX3? Sure, you have the capability to potentially ride faster, but I mean, if your engine's going to blow up, or if you're going to lose your valve clearance so much more prematurely while riding at a little bit higher RPMs or a little bit higher speeds, even with 55 miles an hour, even with 55 miles an hour, that's still not technically, it's still not faster than the T250. The T250 can go up to 60, and it could stay there too, according to owners. But I don't know how true that is. If someone could respond in the comments or just give me some insight on whether or not you actually have a SG250 or T250 and you ride it every single day, like I'm doing that right now with my RX3. Yeah, let me know how how your bike has been holding up riding at 55, 60 miles an hour. I don't really believe that the T250 would have survived riding this type of riding every single day. Maybe 45 miles an hour. But the point that I'm trying to make is there really wasn't any reason to sell off the T250 and spend over $6,000 altogether on this bike just to go potentially 5-10 miles an hour faster. There was just no need, you know. Yeah, I probably would have, if I knew, I would have just bought something else. I don't know if that something else would have been the RX4, just because if you watch my CSC, should you buy a CSC motorcycle to save money on gas video, there was other bikes that I was looking at, and one of the other factors about that played a role in my purchase was the convenience factor. And to me, the RX4 it's convenient when it comes to certain accessories and, you know, the little features that it has on the dash, but it's definitely not convenient when it comes to maintenance because a lack of a center stand. And I believe, especially at this point, buying the KLR 650 would probably be my best bet, because you can put a center stand on it, and doing this type of riding, you know, 55-60 miles an hour, it's not stressed at all, and it won't be stressed at all. Matter of fact, it's not even stressed on the highway either, if I needed to go on the highway, which I really don't. So yeah, hopefully the results of this test will determine what the true safe limits of riding this motorcycle is. And riding between 5,000, 6,000 RPMs, or just at 6,000 RPMs, 50 miles an hour being the safe top speed for the RX3, it kind of puts it in a class of utility that's, I don't know, it's quite restricted. Yeah, I think I really can't. I mean, 6,000 RPMs to me, especially for what it is that I'm using this bike for, that's pretty much the lowest that I can go. So I'm really hoping that this actually works, because I really can't go any lower. If I have to go all the way to 5,000 RPMs, I mean, I really just can't use this bike at all. You know, it's just not fast enough for me to. I'm already the slowest guy on the back roads pretty much when I was riding at 7,000 RPMs. Riding at 6,000 RPMs now, everybody's passing me. And you'll see that once we start riding back home when it's light out. And another little side note, when it comes to the riding today, I don't know what it was, but there's like so many little interruptions. I had to wait for 2 different trains. So the way back home took a whole lot longer than the way to work. It was like almost an hour and a half when it usually is supposed to take only 40 minutes. So there was one train that you'll see shortly, and I had to wait for that one, which didn't take that long. But the second train, much later on, I actually had to cut the bike off, waited there for, I don't know, like 20 something minutes. And by the time that I just got tired of it, I picked up my phone, I searched for an alternate route on Google Maps, and the battery in my camera died. So the ride along footage is gonna end with you waiting at the train, unfortunately. But the results of today's ride were very interesting. Were extremely interesting, and so stay tuned till the end to see that. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and enjoy the rest of this ride along footage, and yeah, see you later. Alright, this is day 2 of the SGE, that is the stock gearing experiment. Just got home and so it looks like we're pretty much around 1550. And sometimes it settles down to 1500, so not really anything different from yesterday. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on. What has changed with the riding today is, instead of trying to ride at 55 miles an hour, which would have been 6,500 RPMs, I decided to stick at 6,000 RPMs. And while riding at 6,000 RPMs, that is at exactly 50 miles an hour GPS, okay, or 55 miles an hour indicated. So riding at the much lower RPMs, I'm basically the slow guy, like really the slow guy on the back roads now. So with me being the slow guy on the back roads, it's most likely I'm never going to have the opportunity to pass somebody, and the riding is going to be a lot more consistent. But what I'm testing here is to see whether or not the lower RPMs of 6,000 is going to truly be much of a difference between 7,000. I didn't really think that 6,500 was going to make that much of a difference, but being at 6,000, we're going to see whether or not that's going to make a big change. And so far, just with this day alone, I can already tell the bike, it's just a lot more calmer. It's not as stressed. It seems to take it very well. We don't really, just with observing the idle speed, I haven't seen a change whatsoever. Okay. Yeah, there. So it's looking good thus far. And I have confidence that the bike can actually potentially sustain 6,000 RPMs without showing too many signs of the valves moving much, hopefully. Now, for the MPG performance today, I'm gonna let you guys see the pictures in just a moment. And if you guys saw that, and if you guys do the math, man, we finally did it. I finally did it. Riding at 6,000 RPMs instead of 7,000 RPMs, I managed to get 61 MPG having stock gearing and riding at the lower RPMs. That's great. That is amazing. We finally did it. We finally reached 60 MPG while riding on the back roads for my commute route. I've been trying to hit that MPG number riding with lower gearing, but at 7,000 RPMs, obviously. So if I had the lower gearing and was riding at 7,000 RPMs, I mean 6,000 RPMs, excuse me, I may have gotten more. Who knows? I know for sure when I was riding at 5,000 RPMs while doing the engine braking process, I mean, I got like 68 MPG with the lower gearing. So but still, hey, 61 MPG, that is not bad. That is not bad at all. I will take that any day. So going a little bit slower, being a slow guy, 5 miles an hour slower than everybody else. I'm happy getting over 60 MPG while doing so. So there you have it, guys. There's our baseline. We're going to continue to measure the metrics as the week goes on, and I am really hoping that the RPMs don't change. And if they don't change for the whole week, then it is an absolute closed case that this bike, you'll know its limit and where it should be operating within. And it's looking good so far. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. And until next time, guys, stay safe out there, and peace.